So I'm really sentimental, and I thought it would be really fun if I captured my journey of going from a corporate job, a 9 to 5 marketing role, to committing to my dream of being a full time yoga teacher and also doing freelance marketing on the side. So I currently work for a company that runs retirement villages, and I got this job around 9 months ago after working for over a year and a half for another company that also runs retirement villages. And I kind of stumbled into that industry after starting my career in marketing. But the problem was that even with all of my, self care, yoga, meditation, doing all my own things on the side, I just felt this immense sense of misalignment. Like, even though I was, doing the things I thought I should be doing, I just really didn't feel like I was on the path I wanted. I also just wasn't really happy. And the thing that was really frustrating about this was that I got to a point where I felt like I'd really made a good situation for myself. So I'd built an online yoga studio. I had a good amount of members. I got 20 members, lost a few members since then. I think I have like 17 now. And my dream is to grow that online studio. And I was like, I'll grow it to like 200 members and then I'll quit my job. And I was teaching classes at a community center and then at a yoga studio. And then recently I got a few positions teaching at different yoga studios around Auckland, and I also got an opportunity where I realized that I could teach yoga at daycares, and it just sort of made me realize I was like, wait a second, I can't do all of this and also work 9 to 5 in an office. It was like I was trying to squeeze it all in. But the problem was that my work was feeling really like soul sucking because that I wasn't passionate about it. So it was kind of like I was just going in and doing the work like on this like robot mode where I was just waiting for the day to end because I didn't really care. And I would really try to care, but I just really didn't care about what I was doing. And it was really frustrating because I want to care. Like, I care about doing a good job and I care about doing good work. And I actually really like working, but I've found that I really struggle to work well if I don't feel like I'm on a journey that means something to me or like I'm getting a reward. Because, I'm being paid to work at a salaried job, but it's not like what I'm actually doing is going to benefit me or my own values. Like, if I work harder, I'll still be paid the same amount, and I'm just this tiny speck in this massive company where I don't really feel like I'm doing a lot. I'm not really making a big difference in a way that feels meaningful to me. And I was speaking to a counselor a while ago when I was in a state of sadness and panic. This was like earlier this year because I had come back to work after the Christmas holidays and I was just feeling really awful. So I decided to talk to a counselor, and she was like, "Well, what would you rather be doing?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'd rather just be teaching yoga. I often think I'd probably be happier just teaching yoga and like working at a cafe or something instead of like having all my days full of this work that's giving me money, but it doesn't really feel like it's giving me anything." For all the time and effort I'm putting in, you know? And she's like, you know what? You could just do that, Like you have the ability. It's like you can give yourself permission to just do what feels right to you. And at the time, I was like, I know I can't. It's too much money to say no to. Like, I can't leave that. Um, but then when I realized more recently, when I'd gotten more studio positions and I realized about the daycare opportunities, and I got all inspired because I work for retirement villages and I know retirement villages would like yoga at their retirement villages. I was like, there's so many opportunities for me to do that and to create my own courses and my own like 8-week beginner a series or like yoga for runners or like retreats and build my online yoga studio to, like I said, I want to get it up to more members. But the problem is when you're working a 9 to 5, it takes up so much time and so much energy that it was literally like what I was already doing. People were already saying like, Kimmy, how are you doing it? You're teaching like all this yoga and also working 9 to 5, and I was also a runner, so I love running. And the answer was that I couldn't not do that. Like, if I didn't do all that stuff, I would be miserable. I would be really sad, and I would be feeling like my whole life was just boring and pointless. So I needed to do all that stuff because that was what actually meant something to me. But I realized that the balance was like way off because that I was doing so much of what I didn't want to be doing, and I was only doing a small amount. I mean, it was a lot, in my schedule, but it wasn't enough in the balance of things to feel right for me. So last Thursday, I finally just realized I need to quit my job. Even though I know there's people in my life who won't understand what I'm doing, or they won't get it, or they'll think I'm crazy, I just realized I have to do it. I have to quit my job. Um, and it goes against so many things that I told myself about my parents' values and my, like, people in my life who might think I'm a crazy person. I was just like, this is more important to me than feeling safe and wrapped in cotton wool. Like, I want to feel like what I'm doing in my life has meaning and purpose, and like I care, because I turned 31 last month, and I'm like, you're always waiting. You're like, oh, maybe one day something will click in my brain and I will just suddenly be really good at corporate work, or I'll feel like I can do it in a sustainable way. Like, I go in, I do my work, I feel a sense of satisfaction, I come home and I do my yoga teaching. One day it'll all just align. But I realized I'd literally had like multiple jobs in my whole life that were like this office type work, and I've never liked it. I've always gotten to a point where I just felt like it was torturous for me. And I realized I'm 31 years old. I'm probably not going to change much from this point forward, Like, I don't want to wake up when I'm 40 and realize that I never followed what actually felt right for me. I just did what everyone else thought I should do. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I'm not going into it like an idiot though, like, I have a bunch of yoga classes I'm already teaching. I'm already making enough money just through my current classes, to pay my rent. And then on top of that, I have my online yoga studio. I have enough money for food. I have savings. And this is before I even start my position with the daycare, where I get a monthly payment for that. And I also know that I can grow from here, like, with all the time I'll have from not working 9 to 5, I can, I have a full yoga class on Monday evenings at the community center that I run all by myself, and I want to add more. I want to add some morning classes to the same community center, and I know people will come. So what I'm saying here is that I know that I can do it. And the part of me that is panicking right now is the part that is like the reptilian brain that goes, nope, your comfort zone is where you have to stay, and you can't do anything differently because what we know is where we want to stay. And I just am like, no, I'm actually more afraid of being where I am right now forever than I am of failing or of people misunderstanding me or anything like that. So, it just gets to a point where you're like, okay, am I more afraid of being 45 and still in the same position, or am I more afraid of the unknown? And I realized I'm more afraid of being in the same position when I'm 45. I realized I looked at all the bosses I've had at corporate roles, people who are way ahead of me in their career. They've been marketing managers, managing big companies, and I looked at them and I'm like, I don't want to be you. I would rather have less money and, live on a budget, than not enjoy Monday to Friday. You know what I mean? I'd rather be happy and have less money. And yeah, like, on that note as well, I thought I'll add that a big thing that I noticed was that because I was so unhappy, but I had money, I was having money coming in, but I was unhappy. I was doing all this stuff to try to make myself happy, like, like numb myself from how I was feeling. So I would buy clothes, I would, you know, I would distract myself constantly scrolling. And a big part of what kind of drove me to make this decision was that I started a daily sadhana spiritual practice. And my sadhana includes meditating and a little bit of chanting and focusing on a statement of my own truth that's designed to smash through my negative stories that I know I have that I know aren't true. You can know them that they're logically not true. But your brain is latched onto them as the story that your brain believes that's blocking you from making progress. So when I started to come to my meditation practice every day to smash through this negative story, which in yoga philosophy is called a vikalpa, and I really kind of had my statement that I was focusing on, and I was giving myself permission to honor my own needs, it just became more and more and more clear that I couldn't continue to just sit here with that awareness that I was going against my own needs and values, because I need to be willing to be uncomfortable and go out of my comfort zone in order to grow and change, because change is often uncomfortable, and the unknown is a scary place. But I realized that the only way to get anything new in life, to do something different, is to change and to grow. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm excited and I know that I can do it. It's just that right now I'm in that phase of it where I'm like panicking a bit, because I'm like, that scared part of my head is coming in and is like, oh my God, this is really terrifying. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's still the right choice. So yeah, I just wanted to make a little vlog and have this for my record bank. Thanks for watching. See ya.